Hey, everybody. I wanted to put a video together today on this idea of lost proofing your coaching business. You know, we get started with this idea of building a coaching business out of passion, out of excitement for helping people. And oftentimes we can find ourselves overwhelmed by all of the steps that need to take place in order to be successful and thrive as a coach. And we can find ourselves kind of wandering around, like, what do I do next? What's my next move? How do I get clients, right? That's always the big question. How do I get clients? And that is such an important question. And when do you start really asking that question in the development of your coaching business? I think is important to think about because you can be pretty strategic with that. And, the other thing too is we can find ourselves getting started, right? And there's some momentum that happens. Maybe we get some clients or there's people interested in what we want to offer. I have clients to send you and all that. And then, so there's energy, but then it kind of drops off, right? Maybe you've experienced that. And there's this kind of like, now what? Now what do I do? I've committed myself to this coaching business. I need to make a living. How do I make it all happen? And it doesn't have to be this wandering lost experience, but if you've ever been lost before, and I've been lost in the wilderness, and it's panicky, right? Like, we don't really it's hard to think clearly about what our next step needs to be, what we need to be doing, and how we get ourselves out of that situation. And in my training in wilderness skills, and maybe you have training in wilderness skills as well, one of the first things you learn in finding someone who's lost is to know the point last seen and to start there, right? I mean, where was the last place that we saw this person? And let's start searching from there and make a game plan from there. And that's exactly why we created, or what at EBI here, we created this tool to help you loss proof and find where you actually are in this process right now, so you can identify your point last seen and start to move forward again with some energy. And I want to show you this and show you how to use it so you can lost proof your coaching business and keep making some success um, on your journey of creating a thriving business as a coach and having the impact that you want to be having in the world. So let me show you this. And it's pretty simple little trail map here. Like, what are the steps that you need to be taking to really build that coaching business that you have for yourself? And how do you identify where you are on this map? Oftentimes we want to be right here, right? We want to be in this growing your coaching business, growing your client base. And, we want to jump across really to get there. But, we find ourselves kind of wandering around, and it's easy to get lost out here in this wilderness as you're trying to grow your coaching business and grow that client base. But there are some key milestones along the way. These aren't necessarily steps. There are several steps involved in these, but these are milestones. Like, if you ever hiked on a trail in the wilderness, you might come to these piles of rocks, these cairns, right? That are like marking the direction you need to go. And maybe each one is a couple miles apart or something like that to give you that indicator you're moving in the right direction. So again, we can create something like that for developing our own coaching business as well. So when you find yourself lost, right, you find yourself going back to the point last seen. So where did you feel the most clear, essentially, about what you were doing? Was it at the moment that you were saying, yes, I want to do this and I've got a vision for doing that? Or were you already starting to develop a coaching service for for your clients at that point? You were starting to think about, how do I craft this and how do I articulate this to people, right? And so you can identify, yeah, I was kind of in this general area here. And so if you click into this, you can see as you go down in, there's some important pieces here for you to think about in each one of these different milestones to help you orient where you actually are in this process and what are some steps to help you get going again. Okay. Now let me go back to this here, because when you go to that point last seen, one of the things you start to think about is it's not that that is the place to start working again. It could be, but you might also need to look ahead a little bit to see what you have already done there. You might also have to look back a little bit to figure out where you are and what steps need to be taken in that area so you can confidently move into the next milestone. Okay. So if we look at some of these different milestones here, you can begin to kind of check these things off or revisit them again, like maybe I do need to revisit the clarity of the vision that I have. What is that impact that I'm really wanting to have, and start to go through these checklists again. You might find yourself going really quick through them, and then you might find yourself slowing down. 2 to 5 practice clients. Maybe I do need to get some clients to start to practice this and build some confidence around what I'm doing and being able to articulate it a little bit. And that could kind of slow things down. And when you feel that, like, kind of slowing down and you're like, ah, there's some friction here, maybe that's actually right where you need to be. That could have been the piece that you needed that kind of tripped you up and sent you wandering off in a different direction, and not fully, clear about how you're going to move forward. So there are some steps here that you could be taking to help you really anchor in to the milestone that you're working on to keep building that business. Okay. So if you'd like a copy of this, just let us know in the discussion area or the comments section. We're happy to send one over to you. Um, so yeah, it's there's many different um elements to this, right? It's not just this real simple little, like, follow the trail, right? You can be in all of these places at once, and you might actually be in all of these places at once. This is not a linear process building a coaching business. This is a vision that you're creating that's coming out of you, that's important in the world. And so by no means am I saying with this that you've got to do step 2 before you move to step 3, but instead look at it from the angle of, I'm not sure what my next step is right now. I'm feeling overwhelmed. I'm not sure where I need to be going. So then I'm gonna kind of reorganize myself around what I do know, that indicates where I currently am in my process right now, and get back to work in that particular area. All right. Now, there is nothing to say that you can't start again over in the beginning and move quickly through everything. It's not like you're starting over from scratch. You're just moving again through the process in a and just with more clarity and more confidence in what you're doing. So I hope that this helps. It's important to have a strategy for how you keep yourself on track, and not and to keep yourself loss proofed in developing your coaching business. So again, if you'd like a copy, let us know. Happy to send one over to you. And good luck with your coaching business.